To teach or not to teach? That is the question. I have to admit, as a theater English double major, a little cliche to open up with a Shakespeare quote, but, well, let me introduce myself first. My name is Raymond Austin Gore. I go by my middle name Austin. Legal name is Raymond. And then recently, at middle school placement, students have called me Mr. Gore. So, Austin, middle name, what I've gone by. Very informal, very comfortable. It's what my family calls me, my friends call me, my professors in class, that's what they call me, Austin. Very comfortable. Raymond, getting a little into adulthood. The credit card bills come to Raymond. The transcripts come to Raymond. The insurance payments all come to Raymond. Very scary thing, Raymond. And then, when the middle school students started calling me Mr. Gore, blew my mind. I never expected to be called Mr. Gore. I always expected to be called Austin, my middle name. It's what I've been called from birth. But no, Mr. Gore, well, Mr. Gore, that's my father. Well, so I thought. So, with each name, there's comfortable, adulthood, and fear. And one of the things I'm most fearful of is becoming a teacher. I've wanted to be a teacher my entire life. Well, as far back as I can remember, about second grade is when I realized that I wanted to become a teacher. I wanted to make a difference. But I got to college, gung-ho, I was going to finish my degree in 3 years, I was going to go into the MAT, I was going to be a teacher. Easy. Got through my first year of school, was really excited about it, was like, yep, absolutely. Took a year off from taking any sort of educational studies classes and got really scared. Thought, I don't know if this is exactly what I want to do anymore. I don't know if I have the sort of commitment, the sort of drive that I see in other teachers. But then I sat back and I was like, well, there's this whole thing about standardized testing. I don't want to be someone who just taught to a test. I don't think that would be something that I would enjoy doing, and thus I wouldn't have the same commitment that other teachers have to teach to this test. Students don't want to take tests. They want to learn what they want to learn. And it's not taking a test. So I became fearful of making this commitment. And I thought, well, there's this program, Teach for America. That sounds good. It's a 2-year commitment. Go into the inner city, teach students, change their lives, and if I don't like it, I can get out of it. So I said, I'm going to reevaluate. I'm going to take another educational studies class, and I'm going to reevaluate my love of teaching. And we focused on, ironically, the commitment of teachers. And one of the people we noticed, or read about, was Diane Ravitch, who said, how can these young people being people like me, how can young people expect to close the achievement gap and establish equality across the land when they agree to remain teachers for only 2 years? All right, that's where I was about a semester ago. Yeah, Teach for America, just go into it for 2 years. Oh wait, that can have negative effects. Maybe this whole teaching thing isn't for me. So after thinking about Teach for America, well, I still was in this class, and I at least had to pass the class, so I was still there. But it made me think about influences, teachers that I had in the past. Now, it was kind of forced that we thought about teachers from the past as part of the class, but when you're taking an educational studies class, you do think about teachers from the past. So the first teacher that I like to mention is my second grade teacher, Miss Cooper. She was a wonderful second grade teacher. She was a first-year teacher. She now has a 2-year-old son, and I still keep in contact with her as much as I can. She's unfortunately moved away, but we keep in touch on Facebook. And she was the first person that I remember saying, yeah, I want to be like her. And let me tell you why. We had this program, was called Ribbon Rewards, or some sort of name like that. And the process was, you got a ribbon for every time you did something notably great. Whether you helped someone pick up their books when they fell, or whether you just said please and thank you, If the teacher felt like you did something great and rewardable, they gave you a ribbon. And once you got 5 of these ribbons, you got some sort of reward. And one of the rewards was you got to sit wherever you want in the classroom. Now, everyone in the class, they would want to sit at the couch, which I have to admit was pretty cozy, more so than like the little desk that you have to sit at. But I decided I wanted to sit at Miss Cooper's desk. And when I told her this, she kind of looked at me like, you want to sit at my desk? Okay. So she thought about it for a while, and she said, okay, tomorrow you can come in and you can sit at my desk all day. And I came in and I sat down, and I felt like this is where I belonged. I felt, yeah, I can see myself teaching a lot of students and be responsible and be fun. Miss Cooper was fun. But 2nd grade is fun, I guess, but she was awesome. So after 2nd grade, I decided going through middle school, I wasn't necessarily going to be an elementary school teacher. I, for whatever reason, felt that I would be better with older students. And so who really inspired me in high school was Miss Joyner. She was my high school drama teacher. And the reason I really consider her is her commitment to a school community. She taught North Carolina for 12 years before moving to my high school, where this is, I think, her 8th or 9th year. But in this picture, we're at the International Thespian Competition out in Nebraska, which, by the way, is just cornfields, cornfields, big school, cornfields, cornfields, cornfields. And so she spent a week with us out in the middle of nowhere without getting extra pay, being responsible for us day and night. And you know what high school kids do at night. I mean, we're a wild bunch, right? And she showed us what other schools were doing and how theater could affect our lives, which really had a great impact on me, obviously, as a theater English double major. Obviously, I think theater is something very important. But it was her commitment, even when she wasn't getting extra pay, that really reminded me of why I wanted to go into this profession. And then the last teacher I like to point out from high school was Miss Cordero. She was my AP Lang junior English teacher. Let me tell you what, she scared me. Scared me to death. The first assignment we had was writing compound, complex sentences with the words of the day. And so I handed it in, I got it back, and it was 0 out of 20. So I went to her after class and I said, why did I get the 0 out of 20? She explained it to me very reasonably, and I said, okay, well, is there any chance I can redo this assignment? And she said no. But let me tell you what, I was always back in her classroom making sure I did the assignment right. But even though I was scared of her, and even though I kind of disliked her during the year, she taught me a lot. I still go to have lunch with her every summer break, every winter break. But the reason I particularly liked her is she taught us that even though we were writing to a test, even though we were writing to an AP advanced placement exam, we still had a voice. She wasn't teaching us to the test. She was teaching us for success. She was teaching us that your writing is important, whether it's to a test examiner, whether it's to a publishing company, whether it's just a letter to a friend. The writing is important, and you have a voice. And that really got me thinking. She was teaching us to pass the AP exam, but yet she taught us how to be good writers. A lot of us, when we applied to colleges, even myself, when I applied to St. Mary's College, I got a note about how great my essay was and how well written it was. She was still teaching to a test, technically, but she was teaching for success. And so one of the other things that really got me inspired was this idea of giving back to a community. Specifically, Gloria Lasting Billings said, teachers saw themselves as part of their community and teaching as a way to give back to their community. They encourage their students to do the same. So we as teachers are encouraging students to be part of a democracy, part of the United States, be great citizens, teaching them how to achieve their dreams. And this really hit me with my high school principal, Miss Evelyn Arnold, who sat us all down in the auditorium on the first day of school. You know, you get the orientation, you get the little map of the school, you get the schedule, and they're like, okay, sink or swim, have fun. But I remember her saying to a group of 400 students, this is your home for 4 years. You've got to make your mark, make people remember you, and make sure that you do something great. And of course, my ninth grade self was like, yeah, okay, you got it. So 4 years go by. I feel like I left a pretty significant mark on La Plata High School. And her and I, we got to know each other. She made sure that she got to know as many students as she could, which of course is really hard for a high school principal to do. And so I walk across the stage at graduation to receive my diploma, and she gives me this really big hug, and she says, yeah, I can't believe you made it. Of course, she meant that in the most loving, sarcastic way possible, but she said, as soon as you're ready to do great things, come back and teach at La Plata High School. Which, of course, at the time, there was a long line of students who were, bugged that I was standing with the principal so long. But it really stuck with me that I could have the same effect that these teachers had on me. That I could not teach to a test, but teach for success. So, despite the craziness, we're inspired by the commitment everybody in the school makes, especially the kids. The hope and possibilities that you see in the kids keeps you coming back every day. That's Greg Meachie's quote. And I really thought about that. Yes, we're appreciative of all the teachers that come in and do all of their work. We're appreciative of the principals, administration team, the guidance counselors. But it really is about the students. It's really about coming in and helping them achieve their dreams, help them become great citizens, and just overall become great people. And we have the power to do that. So absolutely, I'm 100% scared to become a teacher. Absolutely. That is a hefty responsibility. It's a hefty responsibility to not be called Austin, to not even be called Raymond, but to be called Mr. Gore. It's a big responsibility. But what I need to do, and what we all need to do, is we need to take that fear that we have. Let's turn it into excitement. Let's turn it into passion. Because if you're not scared of doing something, then is it really worth doing? And that's what teaching does. So, in conclusion, to teach or not to teach? Absolutely. Let's teach. Thank you very much.